Hello, Andy. Hello, Teresa. It's story time. Would you like Grandma to read you a story? Let's get your book about Ming, the panda bear. That's the book with the blue border on it and the picture of the big panda bear with the parrot sitting in the bamboo trees. Okay, now you have to turn a couple pages to the page where there's the bamboo trees with the rainbow on the page. Do you see that rainbow back up there at the top behind the clouds? That's a pretty rainbow, isn't it? Now let's see what it says. West of west and east of east lay the forever forest called the panda pines. Because of the gentle rains, plants grew there in great profusion. That means a whole lot of them. Rice, nut trees, and bamboo thickets shimmered in the magical mist that surrounded the panda pines. I never knew there was any such thing as panda pines, did you? Let's turn the page now. As you can well imagine, this forest of bamboo provided a marvelous shelter for feathered birds of every kind, including cockatiels and cockatoos, and even a pair of parrots. All of them would flutter and flitter above and about the thicket, chittering and chattering their melodic songs. Just look at all the birds. There's a pretty blue one. Look at the green one in the middle. I think that's a cockatiel. And see the ones at the top with the little feathers coming out of their head? I think those are cockatiels. Where do you think the parrot is? I think he's probably the pink one with a blue and the one that's looking up and smiling. Yeah, I think that's probably the parrot. Looky there, he's sitting on the bamboo trees. Okay, let's turn the page and see what's happening. Oh my! Looky, there's a big bear. Let's see what it says. Other than the birds, the only creature that lived there was a rumbly panda bear called Ming. Ming had two passions in life, to eat and to sleep. She wasn't grouchy by nature, but the birds of the thicket were eating up her food and robbing her of her rest to boot. It seems that the birds were eating all of Ming-Ling's pine nuts, her very favorite thing to eat. Then they would sit in the trees after they ate, singing at the top of their feathery lungs. That would wake up and frustrate the poor hungry panda even more. Pine nuts are kind of like peanuts. Yeah, ask Mom about them. She'll tell you they're just about like peanuts. Okay, let's turn the page. Oh my goodness, looky there. That looks like Ming might be kind of mad at those birds, huh? I wonder, maybe they just woke her up, do you think? Let's look and see what it says. One special morning, when it would have felt so good just to sleep for another hour or two, the birds started singing and flapping their wings against the bamboo leaves, making the loudest racket you ever heard. With a ruff and a woof, Ming woke up abruptly. Why can't they wake up when I wake up? She grumbled as she rubbed the sleep from her eyes. What I need is a bird who will talk when I talk, walk when I walk, and most of all, sleep when I sleep. With that, she sat on her haunches and roared to the trees, scaring a bird or two. Ming knew she was going to have just another really bad day. Oh, my poor Ming. Let's turn the page. Oh, looks like she's really getting mad, doesn't it? Look at those birds' feathers flying. Looks like she's shaking the tree, doesn't it? Whew, let's see what it says. Because she couldn't sleep as long as she wanted or eat all that she wished, Ming would become more and more cranky. That kind of sounds like us sometimes, doesn't it? She stomped around looking for pine nuts, getting grumblier and grumblier. Whenever she was just as cranky as she could be, the birds always started to sing a happy song. In a furious rage, she would grab some of the branches in her mighty paws and shake them like a whip in the wind. I don't know if you've ever tried to sing and hold on to a branch at the same time, but the birds were finding it extremely difficult. Ming was so bearish that she began chasing and snapping at them with her teeth. She never caught one, and probably wouldn't know what to do if she did. But once or twice, a bird's happy fluttering turned into a frightened flittering, and a feather or two graced the corners of Ming-Ling's mouth as the birds escaped. Okay, let's turn the page. Oh, there she is asleep. My goodness, maybe this is a quiet page, huh? Let's see what it says. One day, all the birds, including the cockatiels and cockatoos, decided they could stand no more. They packed up their nests, and together they all flew away. The silence that followed was like a golden blanket to Ming, who wrapped herself in a delicious hush. Peacefully she ate and ate tender bamboo shoots and leaves. It was so absolutely still that she almost started to giggle once or twice. But that would have broken the warm, gentle stillness of the day. It was so perfectly quiet that when she finished eating her fill, she curled into a soft, furry ball, and with no one or no bird to distract her, she fell fast asleep. There she is, taking her nap. Boy, she looks like she's tired. Let's turn the page. Minutes turned into hours. Oh my. There's a bird back. What do you think? Well, let's see what it says. Hours turned into days, and days turned into weeks. Suddenly, the peace and quiet of the thicket began to press on Ming-Ling's ears. Just as the birds had made too much noise, the silence hung heavy on her shoulders, and she didn't like it. It was just too quiet for her. My goodness, does it ever get too quiet for you? It was so quiet that it hurt her ears. She wandered throughout the panda pines, searching high and low for even one bird, but none could be found. Finally, as Ming gave up, resigned to her fate, she spied a rather plump red parrot sitting on a bamboo branch. She looked at the parrot, and the parrot looked at her, and neither spoke a word. Look at that. They're just looking at each other, and they're not talking. Well, let's turn the page and see what happens. Oh, looky there. It looks like Ming-Ling's smiling. Do you think she's talking to the parrot? Let's see what it says. Finally, Ming could take the silence no more and eagerly said, "Do you speak?" The parrot cocked its head to one side and, staring at Ming with one silly eye, said, "Do you speak?" Ming slowly scratched her head and said, "Well, of course, but do you speak?" The parrot paced from one end of the branch to the other and said, "Well, of course, but do you speak?" Ming growled, "You're being silly." Then the parrot growled, "You're being silly." Ming-Ling's eyes opened wide with amazement. She had found a perfect bird, a bird who would sleep when she slept and talk when she talked and say the words she loved to hear, her own. Well, that silly parrot was just copying everything Ming said, wasn't it? Let's turn the page and see what happens. Oh, it looks like Ming-Ling's kind of laughing, doesn't it? Look at her long eyelashes. Doesn't she have long eyelashes? That's a pretty bird, too. Look at all the pretty feathers. Why? Okay, let's see what it says. This is just great, Ming thought to herself. This is my kind of bird. She began to walk slowly around the tree as the parrot mimicked her every move. bears are great, she snickered out loud. The parrot, true to his name, snickered right back. Panda bears are great. And Ming is the greatest, she laughed in her furry paw. And Ming is the greatest, the parrot laughed in its feathered wing. With a smile as wide as the panda pines, Ming with the parrot waddling right behind, giggled her way into the forest. Oh my goodness. Now turn the page. Let's see what happens. Oh, looks like she's getting ready to take another nap. Well, maybe it's later. Let's see what it says. Parrot's still there though, isn't she? The next day, after the sun had been up for an hour or more, Ming stretched in the warm leaves that were her nest. Oh, what a gorgeous morning, she yawned. Above her, she heard feathers rustle, and a squawking voice yawned right back. What a gorgeous morning! So it went from day to day, with Ming talking on, and the parrot repeating her every word. Okay, let's turn the page. Uh-oh, what's happening here? Well, looks like maybe somebody's getting a little unhappy, doesn't it? Well, let's see what it says. As the days wore on, Ming just got a little bit upset about their conversations. Though they talked on, and throughout the day, it didn't seem the parrot was adding anything. Finally, one afternoon, as Ming was getting a drink down by the stream, as usual, the parrot was doing the same thing. The pounded shouted loudly, "You dumb creature, why don't you climb a tree and sing or something?" While the parrot, its feathers ruffled, shouted just as loudly, "You dumb creature, why don't you climb a tree or sing or something?" Mingling's eyes widened in anger and she screamed, "If you repeat what I say one more time, I'll eat you for dessert, you ball of feathered fluff." For the first time in a long time, the parrot didn't repeat her statement, and the air was very quiet. Uh-oh, look at that parrot. She looks kind of worried, and Ming looks angry, doesn't she? Well, let's turn the page and see what happens. Now what's going on? Ming looks kind of interesting, doesn't she? Let's see what it says. The parrot fluttered up into a tree and looked down at the angry, confused panda bear. "What do you want, bear? First you want silence, then you don't, but now you do." Sheepishly, Ming sat and gazed at the ground. "Well, I don't know. I thought I wanted it quiet, but that was boring. Then I thought I just wanted to hear someone talk when I talked. And now I don't know what I want." She paused and thought. "Maybe if all the birds came back." "Well," said the parrot, "they'll never come back if all you're going to do is roar at them." "Yeah, but they make so much noise and I need a lot of sleep." The parrot paced on a branch, thinking out loud. "With a bit of cooperation and a pinch of compromise, I think you both can survive." Oh, it looks like the parrot's got something up her sleeve, doesn't it? Yeah, she's got an idea forming in her head. Let's see what happens. Turn the page. Uh-oh, here comes some more birds. Let's see if Mingling's very happy. From that day forward, whenever Ming wished for silence, she did nothing more than stuff bamboo leaves in her ears. Look at that. She's got bamboo leaves stuffed in her ears. The birds were so happy singing without interruption that they carried great piles of pine nuts and the most tender leaves for her to eat when she awoke from her afternoon naps. And sometimes, when Ming wasn't looking and couldn't hear, the plump red parrot mimicked her every word. Oh, looky there. The birds were glad to be back, weren't they? Yeah, and they could sing, and they helped take care of Ming. They brought her nuts, didn't they? Yeah, look at her pink toes down there. Look at those toes. See her claws, and look at her pink toes. And I think she likes to kind of eat the bamboo leaves too, doesn't she? Yeah, when she she doesn't want to hear the birds sing, she just stuffs some in her ears. I guess that's all right for bears to do, but nobody else should stuff leaves in their ears, should they? No way. Look at her long eyelashes. Look at those birds. Aren't they pretty? There's a green one. You find the green one? And the blue one. Where's the blue one? And a kind of a reddish pink one. That one's right above Ling Ling's head, isn't it? Okay, let's turn the page and see what happens. Oh, looky, there's Ling Ling and Bear. And it says, if you live in a forest and don't know how to share it, remember a panda named Ming Ling and a very silly parrot. That's a cute story, isn't it? And that's all of that one. Okay, want to close the book now?